The blurb of Sam Willetts' book says that the poems in this remarkable first collection have been hard won. And they certainly have, because Sam's had a life. He's had a life. And what sometimes happens when you read that phrase, the poems have been hard won, you kind of know what to expect. But the great thing about Sam is, I think, you've got no idea what to expect. And he writes about his life in such a way that you think two things. You think, that could be my life, and why can't I write about my life, which hasn't been as full as his life, in a more interesting way? What he makes you do is think, actually, all lives are interesting, but we should write about them in a more interesting way. So he'll do an innocent poem like The Dandelion Path, which is dedicated to his sister. Halfway up the hillside ran a green tunnel, floored with grass and sheep shit pellets. It was restless camouflaged, a childhood zoo for sun and shadow. And you think, blimey, why can't I write about the things I saw in my childhood like that? It was restless camouflaged, a childhood zoo for sun and shadow. That's work, isn't it? That's really sitting there and working on the memory. Not just taking the memory for granted, but thinking, how can I transform this memory from memory into language? That's what he's done. So they're not only hard won because he's had a hard life, the poems are hard won because he's worked hard on them. And if you talk about that phrase, win, he's worked hard on them to win, to win the memory, to win the language, to actually write about them. My other favourite poem in here is a little tiny one called Farmer in Drought. Dust races in strands across the steep vineyards. He bends on one knee to lace his boot, and the wind begins unravelling him. His dust spins from his heel as he stands. And again, that's a hard one. That is a hard one. The wind begins unravelling him. His dust spins from his heel as he stands. So this really is a fantastic book full of hard-won poems in the best possible way.